don't compare your step 1 to somebody else's step 10. I'm 11 years into that ride.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so as you start to get some success, as you start to make some money, as you start to gain an audience in the community, then you can invest it back in with hiring other people to do all that little stuff.
Yeah.
And doing a better job than you ever could. But the first step is to be consistent, and the way to be consistent is to ruthlessly eliminate and simplify as much as you possibly can, just to make sure you get that thing done.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show.
We shouldn't have a podcast. So we're talking about consistency today, and here's why I love this subject. I love this subject because when I'm in situations where people are panicking, it's almost always in the absence of any consistency whatsoever. I just had a conversation with a student who is getting started, has tremendous amount of experience in person, and literally said to me, I really want to get to the level where like a Ben Mudge is, where, he's got this program that's sort of automated and processed. And I was like, I was lucky enough to meet Benjamin Mudge, awesome guy. For those who don't know, really nice guy. Has cystic fibrosis. At the time that I met him, he had long hair. He was doing his Thor impersonations for kids, taking his medical treatment, his breathing treatment in the Thor costume. Just on a 10 Vera Hansen Brento level of kindness. People so kind that they just make you feel like a jerk for waking up. That's how kind.
Yeah, I don't like those people.
Yeah.
I don't like those people.
This is the type of person that Jonathan doesn't like to interact with very much. But in any case, I remember in 2016 when he started, he was not doing that. I remember going through OTA level 2. Ben had a little bit of a challenge getting through that certification, right? Obviously he's wildly successful now by pretty much in any standard that you can measure success. But what I told the student was, just give yourself about 7 years or so. You'll be right on par with that. 7 years of consistently spreading your message, consistently responding to people, consistently being exceptionally kind to the humans that you interact with, 7 years of studying, practicing, making mistakes, learning from them, and repeating them. Consistency is a superpower, man.
It's a superpower.
And the great thing
it is actually like everything that I know.
Exactly.
I'm not particularly good at anything. I'm just.
This is what I always say, Jonathan, about myself. Just consistency doesn't require any talent. That's why I love it. But it separates us. But it's and that's clear in Jonathan's case. But it separates you from the. Because, James Clear just wrote one book, and, he's extremely talented. Jonathan, consistent with 11. And,
Dude keeps updating his Facebook cover photo, and I get a notification every time he does, whenever he sells 1 million more books. He just puts, like, a new tag on it. So today he updated it, and it popped up in my feed to show me that he sold 5 million copies of his book.
That's very good. And rightfully so. But in the absence of any James Clear-like talent, what Jonathan has been consistent, and we see in all reality, we see the results of that consistency in the organization that we're working through right now. And I'm sure people come to Jonathan, I want to start an organization. I want to teach people online training. Well, we've been doing it since 2012, 13. If you don't stop, you're generally going to get very good at things. Jonathan, did you find the commentary with Jason? Because I'm finished stalling now. Go ahead.
Good job.
Yeah, I was messing.
It was great.
Totally made that all up.
Well, so this is about a new student named Evan who signed up for level 2 of the Online Trainer Academy, and Jason just messaged me. He's like, funny story about Evan. He told me that he's listened to every single episode of the Online Trainer Show to date.
Poor guy.
And so I, of course, commented back, I feel bad for the guy.
Clearly.
Jason responds with, haha, I made a joke saying they're hilarious on that show. And he's like, well, yeah, I actually fast forward to the content anyways.
I love it. Evan, you're my dude's best friend.
So my response is, smart man.
Right. Pretty much. So the sad thing is he's not hearing any of this when he listens to this episode, so he doesn't know that we talked about him. But the great thing is he'll get some good content in about 6 or 7 minutes from now when he stops fast forwarding. Good for you. So, but Jonathan, talk to us a little bit about consistency. I love to hear from Keto on, and that's short for Catalina. For the folks that keep questioning me about that, this question will not die, and it aired on the last episode.
Yo, I have a new one. So we've already gone over Carolina, which I think is fantastic. I don't think she's particularly happy with me about that one, but she hasn't shared that.
It's all right.
I have a new one, Catalina, for when she's catty.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. That makes sense.
I'm totally fine. Totally fine with that. I will
Are you
own
better
that.
with that one than Carolina?
Oh, wait. I just remember when Amber sent me my new sign, that it's too far away right now, but my new sign on the mail, it was addressed to Petty Caro.
Oh, amazing.
But it was Jeff. It was my boyfriend who went and he got the mail, and I saw him looking at this envelope, and he was trying to decipher, like, Petey? Is there a Petey? Is it like Peter? Is it and he couldn't, and then he's like, Petty. He's like, oh, that's you. Yes, that's me. That is me.
Brilliant.
The fact that he doesn't immediately know that that's you shows me that he is the right man for you.
Absolutely. 100%. This man's, he's living in a fairy tale land.
That he can pretend that he doesn't immediately know that that's you.
Yeah.
It shows you that he's willing to go to that extent.
I think he might have catfished you on that one a little bit, Keto. I think he knows exactly who that is. So Jonathan, talk to us about consistency. When we switched to this subject at the last minute, what did you have on your mind so that Carol and I can catch up and maybe comment later? We don't know what's going on.
That's fine. If you guys think of anything that's cool, I'll hold the fort just like I usually do.
Oh my God. Oh man. Please continue.
Thank you.
I'm gonna bypass that. I'm gonna continue to say that, Jonathan.
We all know it's not true. I mentioned it a little bit before. When you actually consider the percentage of people who are in any way consistent for any significant period of time in anything they do, the numbers get so small that it immediately shows you how much of a competitive advantage it is and how much it differentiates. Now, the hard part about being consistent, as there is an engine revving behind me, of course, is that stuff gets in the way.
It's probably Vin Diesel.
It's probably Vin Diesel. And like stuff gets in the way, and you start, you don't, when you're consistent, there's kind of this immediate gratification. You're excited about something, other people might even be excited for you. You get to promote something new, whatever it is, and then it becomes day to day, and then you get into the doldrums of doing that day in and day out. And so, this is why it's important to make sure that you have fun in everything that you do, that you inflict personality into everything you do, because if you don't, it starts getting boring and stale really freaking quick. The other thing, though, is you have to start to really appreciate the small wins and enjoy the people you're working with. And whether you have staff, whether it's just like somebody else who you're doing a project with, whether they work for you or not, you've got to enjoy that. You've got to take pleasure in the work, not necessarily in the results of the work, because all of the results are going to come as a result of doing the work consistently, relentlessly, while ignoring the day-to-day highs that happen. We mentioned, I think it was last week, might have even been last episode, even the best performing stocks, businesses, everything of all time move backwards 95% of the time. And you have to be willing to lose or feel like you're losing a lot of the time if you want to really move forward. That's just the reality of how things are. And the only way to really do that and to be consistent doing that is to do something that you enjoy, legitimately enjoy, or get the heck out and do it with people that you enjoy doing with. And the other piece is planning in advance for things going wrong, because things will go wrong, things will get in the way. We've produced 100 episodes and we haven't missed an episode, right? I haven't been here for all of the episodes. We have kind of missed episodes where we've used past recordings for episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Or we have other people who are able to pick up the slack. Like, you know, if I can't make it for an episode, well, I'm going to make sure far in advance that we have a process in place, or we have a project in place that the work still gets done. And that's, I think, the other part that's really important is, like, life gets in the way. You want to go on holiday. I mean, to Carolina's point a little while ago, where she has this program where she shows up first thing in the morning to work out with her people. Well, like, what if she gets drunk the night before and, like, doesn't want to wake up in the morning? Or what if she wants to go away with her family or whatever, right? Like, you can't possibly set up a business.
I love that the first
drunk,
example was that she got drunk, and the secondary example is that she wanted to be with her family. I love that so much. I'm sorry.
It's not. I mean, it's not. It's. I guess I should say that, like, it's not necessarily like her being irresponsible. Like, what if she has like a celebration the night before where she's going to be up late?
Way to clean
like,
it up.
that happens.
Yeah.
Way to clean up.
Yeah.
And so you can't possibly. The worst thing that you can ever do is set up a business where you feel like you're a slave to it, and where you're a slave to having to do the thing.
Oh my God.
Day in and day out, week in and week out, where you're like starting to dread it, or when stuff gets in the way and it starts to feel like a burden.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to last.
No.
And then you're going to become a statistic, and then you're going to move on to the next, and wonder why nothing's working. It's because 2%. I mean, I'm going to make up this stat because I think that it's true. I think it actually might even be less than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? What percentage? 1-2% of people ever are consistent for a year, week after week, of doing something?
Right.
I mean, it is so uncommon to do a good job with something for a reasonable amount of time that it's almost weird when it happens and special when it happens. And it's because a lot of the time, people just haven't put any kind of process or any thought in place for what will happen when things go wrong.
Right.
Or when things get in the way. You know, for Carolina, she doesn't, she can't make it for the workout in the morning. Well, have you thought through how you're going to elect a member, one of your clients, to lead the workout that day? And nominate her? Right? Do we have stuff that we've recorded in advance that we can slip in if we can't make a recording one day? Or if we do a recording one day and the recording doesn't work, for example. All of these things can happen. Right? Yeah. And that's how you be consistent. And you have to be consistent, or else it's going to be very, very hard to be successful in a way that you can rely upon.
Right.
Success isn't just having a win once, right? Successful is I can rely upon this success. I know that it's going to continue to happen. I know that I can put money in the bank, that I can put reputation in the bank, so that I can sleep well at night, so that I can know my family's looked after. I actually like that quote. Success is something that is not just a quick hit. It's something that you can rely upon in the future.
I like that. That's very good, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I want to go to Carol because, Jonathan, you touched on something that I think that I think when I'm talking to students, sometimes they have a challenge with it, and that's sort of how important it might be to step away for predetermined amount of time in order to create a consistent behavior. And Keto has given us a few examples of this. One of the most blatant ones that I can think of is just sort of how she just doesn't enroll all the time. It's not her jam. But that does let her be very, very consistent with her business. If in my case, I enrolled the fourth week of every 4-week cycle. That's my version of consistency. But Carol, I was wondering, can you sort of speak to how it?
Let me just interject, and then I want to hear from Carol.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can never push hard all of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You can never build a business that requires you to push hard all of the time. I don't know about you, man. That's not why I'm in business.
That's what I'm getting at fundamentally.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking to somebody with millions of dollars in expenses every single year, and a lot of people whose families our business is responsible to feed, and that hangs on my shoulders. And like, you cannot run a business that requires you to push all of the time. Nobody's got that kind of energy, dedication, anything like that. Anyway, yeah.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
so I just remembered a quote that actually Amber shared recently, and I'm not sure who the quote was from, but the quote, it was something like, a person who had this conversation with their therapist, and the therapist actually says to them, it is impossible for you to be giving 100% all of the time, because then that would no longer be your 100%. That would be your normal. That would be your baseline. It's
sense.
contradictory that we're always striving for either perfection or absolutism. Like, let go of all that stuff, because nobody wants you burned out. You're helping no one, starting with yourself. And talking about all this inconsistency, it reminded me of a story by Ramit Sethi. He's the finance guy, very well known. I really resonate with his way of telling stories, because he's super down to earth, and he, cusses a little bit here and there. So that's always a man after my heart. So
Very good. I like it.
and so he was telling in one of his newsletters how, he can go back on his website, and he's like, every single time that I recommend somebody, like I link to their website or whatever, he's like, I can go back on my website and so many broken links, because that person gave up. They never continued with their website. The article is no longer valid. Their information is nowhere to be found anymore. Where to begin with, if I recommended them, it was because they were doing amazing quality work, but they stopped. They stopped.
We have our own version of that.
That's amazing.
That's funny. Because we do the best fitness fitness content every single Sunday. So I've been publishing a list of the best material on the internet in the fitness nutrition industries every Sunday for the last 8 years. And we link out to other sources similar to what Ramit does. And I agree with you, Ramit is fantastic. And when we went and did an SEO revision, it's actually a big problem to have a lot of broken links on your site. It's a big SEO problem. Google really doesn't like that, because they can't, of course, crawl it, and they punish your website. So we had to go back and fix them, and we had to delete over 400 links.
Wow.
God.
Wow.
Because all of these websites were down and off.
Yeah,
That's
and they
amazing.
were good. Like, they were good enough to be featured, but they gave up.
They were chosen as the best on the internet that week.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
For written content, and they had given up and let their website expire.
That's
So-
a lesson in and on itself.
Yes, for all of you mediocre folks out there listening to the podcast, like us, we know our tribe, right? Like the tribes, like
I'm actually going to write that up, because
Yeah.
that's actually a really good story to tell. I
that
never
is a
thought
great
about
story to tell.
telling the story that way.
Great story to
Yes.
tell. Put Kettle on the byline, though, please.
Yes,
Don't-
you gotta credit me, because
Yes.
you always take my ideas anyway. So maybe this. No, I'm kidding.
Please, for once, don't co-opt it for once, Jonathan. Gosh, it's
So
just
yeah,
running rampant.
and now the other part of this that I wanted to share as well is that, once again, the parallels between what we experience in our life and business compared to like parallel to what our clients go through with their journeys.
Exercise. Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, what do we tell our clients? Consistency is key. There's going to be peaks and valleys. And if the scale number goes up, you cannot let that stop you, because this is a journey. It's not a sprint. And you got to, okay, coach, like, coach yourself. coach
Right.
thyself. Like, because the same applies to us, right? And it's the same, showing up every day and doing what you can that day. Some days we're just surviving, and I know that, as I've shared before, as somebody who struggles with mental health, some days are just about surviving, and that's all that we can do, and that's okay, because then the next day might be different, and then you do a little bit better, and then next week might be way better, and then you might have a step back again, and it's okay, because you're still showing up and still being consistent.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to simplify a bit to increase your levels of consistency. Like this fascination. Yeah, this fascination that
have to simplify.
that people have with extremes and complexity it's killing your ability to be consistent, man. You can't build complexity onto complexity. It's a never ending sort of, it's like Jonathan talks about Instagram, right? It's the black hole of despair. Like if you can,
awful.
if you can,
Instagram's the worst. God.
Back
I
on-
go
back-
back and forth on it. Like, I kind of like this. No, right now I'm in one of those, like, God, it sucks, man. It's so, it sucks for so many reasons.
You
It
got, like,
sucks to
20,000
promote. It sucks
followers,
because it
Jonathan.
makes people feel bad. It sucks because of how much time and effort it takes and the immediate gratification as a producer and all of the better things you could be doing. The amount of unbelievably smart, talented people that are making dumb as shit content on Instagram every single day that could be doing so much more with their time just pisses me off.
Jonathan, I rarely interject when you're talking, but you're gonna have to get off the fence about Instagram, man. I need you to decide one way or the other. I just can't really tell how you feel about it. You can't ride the fence on this, Jonathan. I need you to pick a side. So
I got something to say about simplifying and consistency whenever you're done with what you're talking
say
about.
something now
I
about
want to be less upset.
No, please go now, Jonathan. I'm enthralled with the possibility of hearing what you have to say about consistency and complexity. I'm gonna get out my notepad. Take it away, Jonathan.
You gotta not try to do too much with some. Until
That's a
you
quote
have-
card. Did you say you got to try not to do too much with something? Is that what you just said? Let's get that on the quote card. As the president and founder of PTDC once commented that 20 years ago, you gotta figure out something to do with nothing and nothing something too much. That's a great quote. I like that, Jonathan. Well put. Please continue.
We joke about this show and like
I'm tickled.
we poke fun at ourselves, but why do you think we've been able to be consistent about it? Because we've kept it absurdly simple. We have not stressed about all of the different ways that we can promote it, all of the best recording equipment, all of the ways that you quote unquote should do a podcast, right? Like
Right.
we had cover image art created once. Amber works with a podcast production company that we basically do like when Carolina and I show up for 45 minutes to an hour twice a week. We do zero work before, we do zero work afterwards.
It's
We
great.
show up and we talk and
During.
we have fun with friends
It's
for
great.
45 minutes an hour twice a week,
That's about it.
right?
Yep.
And then we leave and we do whatever else we're doing.
Yes.
And then Amber takes it and basically, has worked a fair bit up front with the podcast production company, and then they kind of know what they're doing and take it and they publish it across our channels. And we don't stress about all of the ways that we could polish it up. Basically, it's this kind of like 80-20. And that's why we're able to keep doing it. I wrote on onlinetrainer.com, which I spent way too much on that domain a few years ago. And can I paid $63,000 for that domain.
Yes.
Can I share that?
yes.
Only for me to butcher it on multiple podcast episodes. You're
God.
welcome.
We don't even use it. That's the funniest thing. It is an asset. Like, I gotta think that I could probably resell it for about that at some point. But
yeah.
But so I wrote on that website for a while, and I actually wrote, I think it was like the 115th, short article, whatever that I wrote. I wrote about why I was able to do 115 articles on it, and the reason why is every single article had the same featured image. I actually had it set when the website was developed. I had it set up so that every single article had the same feature image. I didn't do any meta description. I didn't do any Facebook caption. I didn't do anything. All that I wanted to do was just write the article, and I ignored everything else. I ignored all of the fine polishing things. And we've spoken about this in terms of content before, right? My belief is that most people don't do as much content as they probably should on social media because it takes so long to post the content. and all the finishing touches of that they never actually create the material to start with. And in order to be consistent, you actually, at the beginning at least, I think should remove all of that, or as much as possible. So on this website, onlinetrainer.com, all that I didn't care about typos, like nothing, right? Like I said to myself beforehand, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write kind of my thoughts out, and it's not going to be perfect, and there's going to be typos. And basically, I set a bunch of rules. I'm going to go back through it one time and try to fix it, and then I'm going to publish it. And that's it. No cover art, no nothing. It all had the same image. And like, is that ideal? Absolutely not. Is that what we do with the Personal Trainer Development Center? Absolutely not. But the PTDC has a staff who manages all of these things now, right? Don't compare your step 1 to somebody else's step 10. I'm 11 years into that ride.
Right.
And so as you start to get some success, as you start to make some money, as you start to gain an audience in the community, then you can invest it back in with hiring other people to do all that little stuff.
Yeah.
And doing a better job than you ever could. But the first step is to be consistent, and the way to be consistent is to ruthlessly eliminate and simplify as much as you possibly can, just to make sure you get that thing done. And we're literally still at that stage here with this podcast. I mean, who knows what this is going to turn into?
Oh man, I don't know that we'll ever not be at that stage here on the podcast. To be perfectly and I'm okay with it. I don't mind it at all. By the way, I've got like $3 in my wallet. Is at any point is championlifestyle.blogspot.com going to come up so I can make that purchase, Jonathan? I really love to have the domain if you still own it.
That was Jonathan's first blog.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing some championlifestyle.blogspot.com t-shirts. To wrap around front and back, and I can't really get away with it without the domain. So, I'll sing you some. Can I send dollars in the mail? Is that okay? Do you take loose coins in the mail?
You should keep those $3 because you owe us some money for sponsorship.
For today's sponsored ad.
Yeah, you should.
Sponsored by Fitness Jones Training today. You're welcome, by the way.
It's like everybody who like made a bit of money, because they got lucky, like buying Dogecoin or like some dumb cryptocurrency, and then they just went and spent it all. And it's like you realize that you're gonna have to pay tax on that, right?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I made $5,000. No, you made $2.
Yeah. Wait till the IRS gets hold of those alphabet boys come knocking at your door.
It's just going to be so funny, and everybody actually figures out the realities of that world. Anyway, the same with business.
You made Carolina sad, Jonathan, and I don't like that. Yeah.
Oh.
The puppy dog eyes. I guess the episode's over. Like, I wish I'd have known it was the 100th episode up front. I'd have changed to a different shirt or something. I don't know.
I can't even see you. You're black on my screen. I don't know if anybody else.
I know, man. My background's so bright. Like I'm like a talking head against the background.
You look very heavenly today.
It's like I've ascended.
White.
Yeah, like I've ascended, and I'm at the gate with Peter. But
just a microphone for me.
I better. So you see, I better be on somebody's offender. That's all I know. Don't forget about me. Now that I'm in heaven, that I never did see that picture. Just get one off the internet. Can you download a picture off the internet and then just put that internet picture on your offender? Keto, is that?
Offender? We'll just make one.
Yeah. Sure. I can totally just print it off the internet. It's fine.
Yeah. We do.
There's a business opportunity for you.
I was just thinking, Jonathan. www.offender.com. That could really. We can put your whole family up here. You don't need to
have a family.
Yeah.
You don't have a family. Nobody ever loved you.
Right.
Worried that nobody is going to remember you, and your spirit is going to waste away to nothing after you die. For $15.99, get yourself set on the digitaloffender.com.
Are you worried about a Dia de los Muertos disaster? We can save it from that.
It's like afterlife insurance, right? I don't
That's
know.
exactly what it's like.
It makes sense. I don't know.
Damn it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this training thing now that I've got this idea. See you losers later.
Everything, girly.
Right. We're on to something here. This could be a thing.
There are less parasitic businesses that exist. That's the saddest part.
Yeah.
One of them is Instagram. Let's just be honest.
I could
Just be honest.
possibly get a picture of like Selena and some other folks. This could be a thing. This is a great
This could be
idea.
a thing.
I'm
Totally,
glad I
this
came
could be
here
a
to this
thing.
100th episode, if only for that reason today. It honestly was kind of crappy up until that point, but now I feel like I didn't waste an hour of my day because I'm enrolling this week. So speaking of enrolling, you can
Did
feel
you get any
confident.
messages? Did you get any DMs?
Yeah, I'm getting a few DMs. I got some people, got some interest.
right.
There's
Hell yeah.
a
Some
few people on the hook there.
Warm leads.
Yeah, I got 1.5 leads, and one of those is my auntie. So
You gotta close those leads.
I really do. I
love-
know ABC.
I love people who like refer to selling as like some sort of war.
Oh yeah.
It's like oh yeah, I'm using a tripwire, so they trip over the bomb and then close the lead. It's like these are human beings you're talking to, man. These are people that you want an opportunity to help them change their life in a value exchange.
No,
like why
not
are
at
you
all.
referring
Not
to
at
them
all.
as like stepping on a bomb?
I'm like a sniper, baby. I shoot them from long range. And they two, 3, 4, 5 down. I hit every single shot right between the eyes. Speaking of, you can feel confident and empowered to run your fitness or nutrition coaching business online. Join the Online Trainer Academy. You can go over to onlinetrainer.com/OTA, and we'd love to have you there. And take a pit stop over at championlifestyle.blogspot.com.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's offline.
Oh, it's offline.
I had it
This-
saved for the longest time, and I went to share it with a student. I was so mad it was gone.
I know.
I love
You know what happened? It got hacked and then I guess Blogspot like shuts down
How
websites
in the hell?
that get just overrun with spam.
How did Champion
it was-
Lifestyle get on a hacker's radar? Like,
Well,
the-
no, it was yeah, I know. It was like a bot that I think hacked the and like spammed the comment section and everything like that.
Aw.
Oh
got
man,
taken
they've
down,
overridden your mom's one comment. That's sad.
You know what you could do, Amber, though? You could do the Wayback Machine, and I'm sure you could still find it.
Wait a minute. There's a way. The PTDC has a time machine. There's a Wayback Machine.
No, you know how that works on the internet?
No, what is this?
Oh, you can find the history of any domain. I think just Google like Wayback Machine, and you basically
What?
put in any domain, and what this thing has done over the years is it crawls websites and basically saves snapshots of them.
What?
And so you can go back and you can like look at what a website looked like. Oh yeah, if you go to the ptdc.com on the Wayback Machine, you can see like our original website and what it looked like.
No
and everything.
way. No way.
Yeah.
This has blown my mind. I never knew that there was such a thing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool resource actually.
Show notes
You
can
can
be.
you can really look at like
I'm doing show
evolution
notes.
of people's businesses,
Oh, really?
which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to show notes, Jonathan. Show notes
Yeah,
can
do
be
it.
found at onlinetrainer.com/podcast. It's been lovely bringing 100 episodes of informative, professional, upper level information to you here on the Online Trainer Show. Whoever knew we'd make it to 100? I was betting on maybe 15 or 20. We'll be back in 25 episodes to celebrate Catalina's 100th episode, as we should, and that'll be another spectacular event. It's a part deux, 100 part deux. Thank you so much for everything, and I guess we play the jingle now. I'm underwhelmed by our 100th episode. I just got to throw that out there.
I feel like we need to add some production value into that.
Bring some outside stuff in there, like some post production, maybe sound effects or music or something like that. Maybe an animated series. That'd be a great Saturday morning cartoon. Online Trainer Show.
Did we
the
ever
animated
share
series.
how that jingle came along?
Yeah,
What those initial conversations were?
we did marginally. I've already said the show notes, Jonathan. So I'm not sure that we're allowed to expand further. I
We
don't know.
always trail off into nothingness and,
Yeah, I
and,
don't-
and just inane conversation.
So
That's part of the
Amber
thing. That's
Amber
what people
actually
look forward
came
to.
up. Amber's the composer of the jingle.
You can thank her
Yeah,
for
you
that
thank her
beauty.
for that. I'm just an annoying performer. I'm just the ex boy band member who was coerced by
Well,
the
we
record
all-
label.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all performed it originally. Can you, Amber? Can you maybe spit that? Put the original recordings of all of us.
I hope you don't have it. I hope to God you don't have it. But I
Oh,
think
It
it's
would
in.
be in
gosh.
Slack, but we would have to pay for all of that old.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not paying for Slack.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
nobody should pay for that jingle.
I don't
in any
think
way,
so.
shape,
I'll
or
look,
form.
but I don't think so.
This is the On My Trainer
Let me tell you,
Show.
my ears paid enough when I was trying to engineer the sound on that. It was so
was
bad that I had to
awful.
go into my own closet and record it myself and double my voice over my own voice. I spent
We tried to time it. We tried to time it so we came in on each other.
It was really bad. It was really,
It was
and Catalina was
terrible.
not bought in. She was not bought in at all. She just
No.
there was
No,
just,
I
that
can't
point-
sing.
At that point, Carolina was not bought into being a part of this production.
at all. At
I'm still on the fence. I'm
Yeah.
still on the fence. Like, I don't know where this is going to go.
Usually the level of enthusiasm, on any particular subject. Was her singing
Right.
that online trainer show theme. It was pretty. It got dark for a while. It was pretty dark. So I'm just exit me out of this conversation. I've had enough of this
I'm
conversation.
still amazed that I have not done even one single episode drunk. So there's that. 100 episodes.
you made it
Not
100,
drunk.
Time-
Not
time
drunk,
to
Kara.
celebrate.
That's what I should have done for you.
Yeah.
I feel like Carolina, when I get back to Toronto and we can like be around other human beings in Ontario again, I feel like you and I need to just be drinking beers, like recording together. for an
Yes,
episode.
together. And like cheering
just-
each other.
you
Yes, yes,
give me
yes. Let's do
shit.
that.
You just give me shit because I will have 2 sips and be drunk.
Yes, yeah. I'm totally up for him. Chug, 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 chug.
Jonathan the lightweight Goodman.
Yes.
So funny.
I've got nothing else to say here. I'm gonna take myself out. I'm gonna remove myself from this entire debacle that has been in 100th episode.
Jingle me timbers.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.